Hey everyone, welcome back to Big Strong Book. I'm Reed, and today we're going over volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Berserk by Kentaro Miura. Now, this is a manga that I've been meaning to get around to for quite some time. I mean, obviously, as I think evidenced by my channel, I don't really read manga. I don't. For me, it's not a distaste in the art style or the stories within. It's more a matter of just the costliness of it. Granted, I always know I can. It's pretty easy to, I think, to pirate it, but I prefer not to do that for a lot of things. So it's because manga is, or at least it appears very costly to procure through legitimate means. I don't seek it out because, and especially because, and the same goes for comics as well. It's very easy to get through, and so it's tough when you have a book that even a book this big. I mean, this is a thick, a meaty 700 pages, but it's 700 pages of a manga. And I think I got through this whole thing within less than an hour and a half. Now, Berserk is, of course, of all the mangas out there, it is the one that I think has persisted in trying to get me to read it. Now, for a brief background and overview about some of my reading history with manga, I haven't read a whole lot. I've read Death Note all the way through. Didn't love the way it turned out. Of course, Death Note has a fantastic premise, and I'd say a fantastic first half. But then when you get halfway through Death Note, it just kind of becomes repetitive. And it, kind of gets its wheels caught in the mud a little bit. Before the ending itself is pretty good. It's just it would have been better, I think, at half the length, really preserving it, not making it repetitive. And then another one that I've read all the way through was Pluto, the name of the creator escapes me off the top of my head. I'm not sure what the correct. I know it's not author. Author is not the correct term. Maybe mangaka, or I forget what the term is for the creator of a manga. Anyway, but Berserk is one that I think years and years ago I had I had volume 1 and I had read it and enjoyed it, but never really felt pulled to seek more from it. And I think my reluctance to pick it up, I think, furthered in 2021 after Kentaro Miura passed away. And I think I remember hearing even years before he died that if he were to ever die before the series was complete, the series would remain unfinished. And so I think I had stepped away from it thinking, okay, if Miura ever finishes the series, then I might read it. But and especially because by that point, Berserk is a series that I think was begun in 88, 89, and it is still ongoing to this day, and especially the past probably 20 years or so, it seems. There have been extended hiatuses for the release of chapters, which, again, has lengthened the amount of time between volumes being released, not least of all to say volumes being translated into English, because that takes some time too. The volumes, I think, will be released in Japan, and then once the series got caught up in translation, then it was still, I think, a volume would come out in Japan in the Japanese language, and then it would take a year for it to be translated into English and then at least released in North America, released in the US. So again, that was part of my reluctance. And again, the speed with which I can go through manga or comics, that is why I don't read it, and you don't really see it a whole lot on this channel. But I decided I'll reapproach it. I'll get into it. And over the past few years, I think Dark Horse Comics, they have re or they've reissued Berserk in these big deluxe hardcover editions, with each volume collecting three of the. I forget what the correct term is for the single volumes, tankobon volumes, uh, because I mean, and it's certainly more, I think, cost effective for somebody getting into it to then pick up these hardcovers, which are a slightly cheaper, I think, than at least purchasing online, slightly cheaper than getting the volumes individually. So, I approach this. I know all the memes about Berserk. I know that there's, it's a story that leaves one scarred. One does not get through the world of guts without being unscathed. And while I don't think that's particularly manifest in the first volume, in volumes 2 and 3, as I have read, that certainly becomes more apparent, and you start to get the little inklings, the little seeds of the deeper world therein. Now, what is Berserk about? Well, Berserk follows the mercenary Guts, or a former mercenary. It's, again, since at the end of volume 3 is when you start to get a little bit of his backstory. Still a little unsure. He's a man of no empathy, no common cause or connection to his fellow human, but it's not as cut and dry as that. There's a lot of deep implied, I don't know if it's post-traumatic stress, deep grief, guilt, and self-loathing that I think he carries within him, and that's kind of evident from the beginning. But he is on a cause, on a mission, and kind of going after this almost interdimensional cluster entity group known as the God Hand. He's branded. He has a brand on a neck, a brand that seems to link him to demons, and becomes more evident as to what that brand could signify at the end of volume 3. And at first, especially in volume 1, as the story goes along, it is very it starts out extremely episodic. You get chapters 1, 2, and then 3 are all disjointed, but chapter 3 starts a little bit of an arc. But I think volumes 1, 2, and 3, for the most part, are called the Black Swordsman arc. And then at the end of volume 3, you get the beginning of the Golden Age arc, which I've heard a lot of positive things about. I've heard that that's where the series really starts to come into its own. But what ends up starting to happen is Guts finds himself faced with this demonic count of sorts that has, for lack of a better expression, sold his soul to the devil, or sold his soul to the God Hand, in order to wipe out these perceived heretics in his domain. And within that, we start to learn more about Guts, more about his quarry that he's after. And throughout all of this, I'd say that one of the great strengths of this story is by, of course, somebody as extreme as Guts. You need somebody not only to act as a sort of audience stand-in. I mean, you don't necessarily need that, but it's good to have. It allows the story to be almost self-reflective. So you have that within this little elf, almost like a fairy creature named Puck. Now, I don't know if Puck is ascribed a gender. I'm not sure. I'll just refer to Puck as Puck, I guess. But Puck is a creature with tremendous empathy, and it's also implied that the elf can. The elf intuits emotion quite heavily, both especially grief and anger, and it seems almost like Guts is the same way too, or at least in rare moments, he almost starts to let the emotion get to him. Um, but this work in this, first collection, it reaches its high point certainly towards the end of volume 3. In this, I think it's called the Guardians of Desire. As Guts comes face to face with Griffith, this figure from his past. I don't know a whole lot about Griffith. I've seen of course, the memes. I know that Griffith obviously has a role in his past and a role in a significant betrayal role in who Guts eventually becomes. And when we have the interplay towards, especially when the Count's daughter Teresa gets involved, it starts to really cut into the kind of horrid emotion that is at work, not only in the interplay within the story, but in this world itself. Not only a world, of like humans and demons, but of the lows that humans will fall to in order to reach their goals. It's how altruism kind of meets its end, how altruism can be perverted, and how it can be strained, resident within, of course, the Count, and then his family and his rule as an after effect. And I should comment too on, I'm not somebody who is great at commenting on art styles in comics or in manga, but Miura has a very it's very stark almost, or especially in action scenes where the pen, the scope of the art becomes so almost clustered. It's like claustrophobic action of sorts, made manifest by Guts with his crossbow, his like cannon arm he has, and his huge black sword. And I don't know how common this is in other work, but I love at the beginning of these chapters the very in-depth, almost terrifying of sorts. It's almost like seeing a horror image. The deep, darkened colors with which he illustrates, seems like the first 5 pages or so, or 5 pages of panels for each chapter. It's very stark. It very stands out. The art style is it's very clear, and it's very well suited to the world, and the story as well. It's enough. I think by volume 3, it's enough to kind of hook you in. And I will say, when it comes to like getting future deluxe editions like that, I mean, not to say I advocate piracy, but I might resort to that a little bit just to get through this, because it is quite costly to get through the series, and especially with the pace with which I read these volumes. It's a mixture of does the price of these kind of justify the short amount of time it takes to get through them. It would be one thing if with these types of works that it would take me weeks and weeks and weeks to get through, but it's just not the case, because if I can fly through these within an hour or so, is it worth it? Now, again, I like where the story is going. I like the world that is set up within it. But yeah, TBD on when I'll get around to the other volumes. It is a story that I'm definitely interested and intrigued to continue, but we'll see. So, Berserk, if you have read it, let me know what you think of it. And as always, I will see you guys next time.